Go ahead, do the welcome.
Okay, so welcome everyone to Deep Dive Writing in Non-English Languages. I'm Dahlia and I've been using Sudowrite since March 2023 to plan, write, and revise novels, primarily in German. My main genres are fantasy, queer romance, and thriller. And I'm thrilled to be hosting this session today alongside Manon Doucet, a passionate writer and teacher from Canada. Would you like to introduce yourself as well a bit, Manon?
All right, I always forget the date when I start Sudowrite, but it's over 2 years ago. I'm a published author. I write in both language, French and English, and I help everyone else which has other language. I'm a bit like John Crasson. I do love play with the AI to get exactly what we want. If not, I think nobody will be able to write in any other language.
Yeah, right now it's still a lot of experimenting. And today we'll explore how to effectively work with non-English texts in Sudowrite and to answer any question that come up along the way. And if you have any questions, since we're a small group, you can just raise your hand and talk about it. So let's get started. I'll share my
Before we go
screen.
too far, maybe we can ask which language we have on board today.
Oh yes, genau, which language? I mean, I'm German, so German.
Yeah, from my side, it's Italian and a little bit of German as well. English, of course.
And Oscar?
Oscar.
I am from Mexico City and I write in Spanish. And well, I actually don't write in English, but I use Sudowrite as a tool in English, not necessarily to write, but to get ideas. But so I'm here from Mexico. I always write in Spanish.
Perfect. So we
Right.
have German, Spanish, Italian.
And French. Don't forget yourself.
And my language, French. All right. Perfect. Okay, take it away.
Yeah. So I'll share my screen. The first thing I hope I'm sharing the right screen. It says screen sharing was interrupted. I hate Zoom. Now you can see it.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, awesome. It probably didn't want to work because I wasn't in the right.
We love Zoom. We love it.
It's wonderful. It's a great tool. Yeah, but anyway, what I wanted to show you a bit was how you can work with Quick Edit and the quick tools in general, work on your text and use them, for example, for translations and to refine the outcome. Since in my experience, Quick Edit works a bit more reliably in other languages than, for example, now I have to move the weird zoom bars to get to the quick tools and the laser tools up here. I mean, write is usually not a problem, but rewrite, describe, and depending on how much you've highlighted, expand may turn out and give you English instead of giving you the content in your language. But for some reason, Quick Edit and Quick Chat usually work a lot better. Well, probably the reason is that Quick Edit and Quick Chat both can see the story Bible, and if you had put your language into genre or style, takes access to this and has more context to see which language you're working with. I'm curious how well it will work with an empty story Bible, but we'll see. And before I forget about this, I also have a little document for today, which will also have links to this experimentation once we're done. Put it into the chat so that you have it. It's always nice because I tend to forget this until after the lesson and then everyone's gone. So I always make a little note that I think about this in the beginning. But anyway, this here is a little example that's provided by Sudowrite. I stumbled upon this in another class and thought it's just funny to experiment with it. It's titled, How Did It Feel to Be Eaten? And gets a bit weird. So I think it's a good text to see how Quick Edit would edit this. And what I would like to try would be using it for translations. And I like to use a prompt like this one. Take this paragraph in English and write it in whatever language you want and preserve the style and tone. And since we have Italian and Spanish here, I would just go ahead and try it with both languages. And you can access Quick Edit either from this selection menu or by hitting a Command K or Control K on Windows. Command K on Mac and Control K on Windows, this way. And then you get this little window. You put your prompt in this. Let's start with Spanish. And then you go edit, and it will directly start to rewrite the text in the document. And I don't speak Spanish beyond the stuff that you learn in the first few lessons of Duolingo, but this really looks like Spanish to me. But
yeah, it is Spanish indeed. It's kind of, it's okay. It looks fine.
¿Sabes dónde estás ahora? Pardon.
Okay, yes, it's okay in Spanish.
Yeah, and you can accept this just with this little button. One little issue I sometimes have with Quick Edit, like as you can see here, it kind of lost the line breaks. That's a little quirk it had on longer stuff, but I still think it's really handy to translate stuff if some other function gave you the output in English. And the good thing about Quick Edit is also that it's in its basic version, it's free. So this has cost us 0 credits. There's also a paid version with higher quality, but in my experience, the output you get with the free version is absolutely sufficient. You usually just get not necessarily better output, but slightly different output if you go for higher quality. And
But for translation, what can be better quality? So maybe a different words, or what? So when it's translating a text, so from English to Spanish or from English to Italian, yeah, maybe we can use different words, but at the end, it should be the same.
Yeah, it should be in general the same for translation, I'd say. But we could run a test. This is Spanish free. And see if there are any like real differences that you noticed for the paid version. And this is also nice about these classes that we do the experimenting for you, and you can just see how well it works. Now I've lost my prompt. What was it? Take this. Now see, can I copy this and this work? This works great. In Spanish. And now we talk about this, and it also always warns that this will use credits. And then let's see if there is a difference. ¿Cómo se siente? I mean, I think it's slightly different, but it was better at keeping the lines.
Okay, it looks slightly better.
Yeah.
Dahlia, I have a question. And it is, I usually don't use the translation functions in Sudowrite because I mostly use DeepL as a quicker and more accurate translator. But I was wondering because pretty much everything in Sudowrite works in English, like the brain dump. I don't know if I'm getting ahead, but brain dump, the genre, the genre, the style, the characters, and everything. It's in English. It should be. I have to make all my prompts and build everything in English, and I was expecting that the artificial intelligence could make from that prompt to write it directly in English because it produces pretty much everything in English. It's okay if you are writing English, but since I am writing a novel and I am using Sudowrite also to, I don't know, to get some ideas and to clarify myself what I want to say and everything. But it will be great to work it in Spanish and or in other language, obviously in Spanish because it's my language. But I guess that's not possible. I am right?
Oh, it is possible. You can just write everything in braindump genre or wherever in Spanish, and
Okay.
the AI will understand this. It's
Okay.
sometimes, since there's a lot of background prompting with Story Bible, so it will sometimes default back to English when you generate something, even if everything is in Spanish.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have the little magic sentence that's
Okay.
write all output. No, it was content.
Okay.
Content in Spanish.
In Spanish. Okay.
And this also in Spanish. Like I would have there write all content in German, like
Side by side.
schreibe alle Ausgaben, alle Inhalte auf Deutsch. So like this way. That way the AI knows that it has to generate in
Okay, perfect. So if
English.
you
So I
use the
would put
brackets,
this
it will produce everything. I am reading also the message from Stefano, so I guess okay. Oh, great! I didn't know.
It works really well.
Okay.
Usually.
Oh, excellent.
Just to put this little thing in,
But you have to
basically
put everywhere because
boxes.
if you miss one, maybe especially when you define characters or word building, you will lose it. So you need to put everywhere, write in Spanish, right? You can even write directly in Spanish, telling please write in Spanish, or you can even write in English, but you have to tell what is the language. This is my experience. I don't know if it's.
That's also my experience. I put it in basically,
in every
here. I mean, after it's generated and all of that.
Okay, and then you generate everything, and it okay. That's great. That's great to know. Thank you so
You
much.
want to show that Story Bible poster that show what each box is responsible for? Do you have it in mind?
Yeah, I'm just wondering where I have this in my.
You had it in your last class.
Let's go back. I had it in my last class. Somewhere in my course material. Which file is this? Loading is. Oh no, this is today's file. So is it this one? No, this is German. Oh, it should be here. Introduction to Story Bible, right? It's a bit small.
Yeah, there.
But if I open this in a new tab, we should be able to see this better. Yeah. And this shows which box influences which other box and the generations in this box. So for
your character box to be done, you have to have that prompt in a synopsis. So that's why I'm asking to show this, to show where each box is going to work on the other box. So if you put write all content in Spanish in the brain dump, your synopsis will be in Spanish. And then you put it inside this on top of your synopsis, then your world building, character, outline, beats should be also in Spanish. But then we go, the character box, we cannot do it anymore because it's separated. Before it was all in one box. You can put it in a genre and you can put it in a style box. And then normally everything is taken care of, and I like to put it on top of my outline.
Yeah, me too. I just put it, except for characters and world building, basically in every box. I will also put this.
Yeah.
And that really helps to tell the AI that it's supposed to write in the right language.
Mm-hmm.
And one reason that the laser tools often don't work is that they just don't see the boxes. So they only have the text that you highlighted, and if it's not enough, the AI is.
I like to say hi.
It's called intelligence. Is sometimes not the right word for this thing.
No, I like to say hi to her and ask her what language is she writing in.
There's someone new here, so hello.
Hello, Erta.
I just go back to our.
She's putting her glasses.
Yes.
What language are you writing in, Erta?
Yeah. It's very cold here. I'm just searching. I'm just looking.
Okay.
And I have a bird, and it's maybe you're hearing sometimes. I'm looking.
Okay.
Okay. If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat or speak up. So
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Okay, now. Okay. So this is
It's
a good
so
way
nice
to
see
use
you.
Nice to see you
to
too.
use the quick edit for translations. And since I wanted to also show you something else, and Manon also has things she wants to show you, I will jump over to the next topic because I think you got an idea. And something I also like to do
exploring the model
occasionally is model exploration. And this is I lost my train of thought, but this is a good way to figure out how the different AIs work in your language. So I usually take the same prompt. Like this is write a conversation in Italian between two old friends who meet unexpectedly after 10 years, use a warm and emotional tone, and put this. Oh, I just noticed this is not a good idea to have this in here, since auto-write would read what's coming next. So I just would have to copy paste a bit of stuff, but I would use this prompt. That's just for the AI to write something, and would go here into write, put this into the key details. It doesn't really matter where you set the creativity. For this testing, I like to have it somewhere in the middle at a rather lengthy card so that I get a lot of text to look at. And then I go in here and choose some different models to see how well they work in my language. Like you have here, writing samples for English, which is really awesome so that you get an idea how each model would write, because they all have slightly a different voice and just a different sound to themselves. But while you know here, there's a little check mark on multilingual that they are able to write in different languages. You don't know how they would sound in your language. And so it's also nice for this experimental stuff to see this. I would go and choose a few models and see what they come up with. Do you have any model that you would like to try out for this?
Try the 4.0 Mini to start.
4.0
Show the
Mini, this
cheapest
one.
Yeah, show the cheapest one of all because it's multi-language, and you can see it's multi-language, 1 credit, unfiltered. It's like at 3. It's following the instruction 4 out of 5, and the prose quality are 4 out of 5 too. So it's a good one to
Yeah.
use a bit.
Yep. It's very good for trying out stuff since it's really cheap. And we have our little key detail box. And then we just go and click. Yep. And here we have our first version here in the history column. Make it a bit bigger, since I won't copy this in here for now. Since the great thing about Write is that it reads the preceding text and keeps what you write in context a bit better. But if I would put this in here, it would read this and try to continue. So, and Stefano, is this decent Italian?
This is
What
not,
would you say?
This is not Italian, it's Spanish.
Spanish? Did I exit? Oh, maybe I accidentally.
Ah,
Oh, no. I noticed. I noticed my mistake. I had here everything right in Spanish. So it got confused. Because probably all the Spanish was like, why are you asking for Italian? What's wrong with you? Okay, so we will just try this again. And this time it should. Yeah, also was like, this sounds more like, but this is, please tell me that this
now
Italian.
it's writing in Italian, yes.
Ah, great. Lucas, si fermo. I'm not trying to read this.
Yeah, it
Marco.
seems to be okay. Eh? So, yeah, it's very good.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, GPT-4, this one, Mini, is a pretty good model.
And sorry,
even though
I
it's
put
quite
a
cheap.
question in the chat, but so if I want to have something like, for example, Swiss German dialect, is able to provide something like that, or an Italian dialect?
It should be able to do this. I haven't tried this since I usually don't have dialect in my writing.
Yeah. No, but I was just thinking because I'm in Zurich, but usually what is in German, not in Swiss German, but sometimes I see people writing in Swiss German, and my Swiss German is very poor, to be honest. But I want to understand.
My Swiss German is also very poor.
But it's okay. But I will try. It's very interesting to understand if we can also do some, for example, Italian dialect, South Italian dialect, something like that. I want to see if he's able to provide some at least a conversation, the dialogues. That one would be very nice.
Some Italian. Do you have a specific Italian, or we could just try it with Swiss German if it would. I mean, I would probably be able to recognize if it's Swiss
you can
German.
also see. You can try.
For that, we would simply change it in here, and everyone here, everyone here. And
yeah, so Sally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely
just from the first word you can see this is Swiss German, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's also easy to understand. So if you're German. But yeah, it's also very clear that there's some. Ich hätte nie gedacht, dass wir gerade hier.
Yeah, it would be nice now to understand if it's possible to generate only the dialogues in Swiss German and the rest in Hochdeutsch. So something like that. Maybe.
Oh my goodness.
No, but it's not for this class. It's something I'm trying to think about.
Yeah, but that's something we can test out maybe next time.
Okay, cool.
then I can do some testing for this, since we're on the half of the hour, and I'd like to at least look at one other model for comparison. And like this now was quite cheap, like barely, not even 100 credits for 300 words roughly. But let's see how a different model would work. Anything you want to try? Or I haven't tried.
Which one you like to work with normally?
Normally, I would just work with Excellent. I have this Basic is also really good, but I always have this impression that Excellent is better at pulling in story variable stuff.
Yeah, I'm using
but
it.
I mean,
what is behind Excellent? Is which model?
Excellent is Claude
5, okay.
5 Sonnet. So it's comparably pricey, but we can just take a look.
I don't change. But don't use Swiss German. Try to use another language.
Yeah, since we want to be able to compare it.
Okay.
Go with
Italian. But I'm not very good. Italian, yes. Okay.
Yeah, because then, I mean, for Swiss German, all I can say is that, yeah, that doesn't sound like proper German. I mean, Swiss German's also proper German, don't get me wrong. But Italian. Because that's also something that I like to see is the different approaches to the same task the AI have. So autocomplete, just magic, write a conversation, excellent. Because that's, if you have a limited style box, that's a good way to see like their narrative approach and their style, how it's usual. And now the question is,
it's good. It's good Italian, but I'm not able to compare, because also the other one looks okay to me.
Yeah, but you will have a chance to compare it afterwards.
Yeah,
I will share this all with you,
okay.
and then, since that's a good way to just see it. But one that I already noticed is that apparently Marco is a very Italian name because it came up in both. That's also something to look out for with AI, especially for foreign languages. It always has its cliched names that it thinks Italians or Spanish people or Germans are called. So you could just, if you generate characters, be a bit more innovative with your names and maybe.
Are you using any special plugin to create names, or you just do by yourself?
I just usually go to a website like behindthename.com, I think is the name of that, because that's also good, because I have some background infos on the names. It's really helpful. And occasionally I just go to like baby naming websites to get some inspiration, to see which year which names were popular and stuff like that, so that it's a bit grounded in reality.
Okay. Because I saw there are some plugins where you can specify some names, but I never did not try. So I will, it's something to experiment.
Yeah, I'm usually very particular with my names, so I try to find them myself.
Me too.
Good. But
cool.
So I hope this was helpful for all of you. And now we can switch over to Manon's part of the class, and I'm curious to see what you have to show us.
A bit deeper, because right now I'm working in the nonfiction. So I'm working on allow presenter replace current sheet.
Okay.
Let's see which one is the right page. Grown, Google.
Yeah, I also had to go through all my screens to see that I'm sharing the right one.
Yeah. So this is my little project I'm working on. I was talking with Dahlia earlier that I start yesterday, and I realized that I miss my own, because I teach nonfiction a lot. So, and I was teaching yesterday, I says, man, I forgot to do one step for my book because frankly, Sudowrite wasn't giving me what I'm looking for. So what I'm writing right now is an emotional intelligent transforming a relationship. And I want to write it in both language. So what I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to see if I can not speak too fast because I have a little time. But what I do is I do very extensive research. And my research are done inside a Word document. And I think if you don't know how it works, you can import any Word document. So if you have a work in progress and you have a lot of information written in your computer, in a Word document, you import it inside Sudowrite. And I strongly suggest to do so before it starts costing any kind of money, because right now it's free. So you can import all your project. Take a day off and just import all your project in it, and it's free. And then you can see what Sudowrite will do out of that. So what I have here is the work in progress that I'm doing about the emotional intelligence. So if you can see here, I have 7,479 words imported from the Word document. Now the Word document, it's in English, and I was thinking earlier when you were talking about the translation part, I wonder how many words they can translate at a time inside Sudowrite, because that's a lot of word to translate. So how do we work with that and get it to be translated properly for us to work in Sudowrite? So what I did, this is the original one, and I went in the three dot and I asked to duplicate. So I duplicate it and I get this one, which is going to be working in French. If I was working in another language, I would duplicate again like I'm doing here, but this one has more words. I forgot one piece of information and I did it again. So let's work with the one I have. And because I'm French, I'm going to work in French. So this way I can show you how I work in this process. So this is my project in French. The beauty of Sudowrite when you're importing a project is going to give you a box like this, already filled up. All the information that I brought in, which is 26,560 words, are in here. The problem is it's in English. I need it in French. But I already know what's there because I'm the one who did the research, so I know what's there. But I want this book to be written in French. So when I go into my story Bible, brain dump, I already write all content in French. Then I went in my genre, and the genre, that wasn't there. The write all in French wasn't there, but the nonfiction, self-help, psychology, emotional intelligence, interpersonal relationship was done by Sudowrite. So they read all my information from this file and they says, hey, that's a nonfiction. The AI is intelligent enough to know that, and it's telling me this is the genre of your book. And yeah, it's basically right on the nose. So I just add that on top. I don't bother to fix the language here. I know it's good. The style, normally it's empty. I just open it as custom. There's normally a custom thing. I don't know if it's going to show. No, not here. What's this one? No, that's when you want to do your sample. So normally, yeah, there's a thing that is street choice. And then I choose the custom and I just put this in, write all content in French. The synopsis though, now I'm going to show you the original synopsis. So when you click on the little clock, you can go back and get the original synopsis. As you can see, the original synopsis is all in English. So what I did is I went in the rewrite at the bottom, see here, right here, and I just, oh, that's not this one. I put down that. Let me go back into my little story. I went here and I said, write all content in French. So I took this. I'm going to, hold on, this thing is in my way. I'm trying to get my screen to work with me here. So in my synopsis in the bottom, I put just this little thing, write all content in French, and I click rewrite. So the result, I'm going to go back here. The result is right here. So it gave me the translation in French of the English version, and it's pretty good. I can tell you there's not a whole lot of error, if any. And this cost the rewrite to translate this synopsis only 192 credit. So it's not too bad. Actually, it's pretty cheap to make a translation like that. So the synopsis is translated just by putting in the rewrite, write all content in French or in Italian or in the language of your choice. Character box, we can do nothing, but here's what I do in my character box. I go in my customize, and in my customize, wait a sec. What did I do here? It's in customize. No, the character box, we cannot do it. You have to, well, okay, yeah. The one thing you can do in character box is you can go and write these in French. So the role in the plot, so le rôle dans le livre, la description physique du personnage, you can rewrite all these things in your language for the character box to give you in your language. Normally it works no problem. Dahlia, how do you work your character box? Or does it normally you don't even have to do anything? Because lately it does follow everything when everything on top is in your language, the character box normally come in the right language.
Yeah, it usually works in the right language. And I have my teaching account and I just have kept this in English now. But in my writer account, I have everything in German. And I still think that it helps the AI a bit, but I hadn't any problems with creating characters in German in my past classes. So
Perfect.
It should be enough as long as the little magical prompt is in genre, style, synopsis, and all that.
Yeah. For me right now, I don't need character because it's a non-fiction. So there's not supposed to be any character inside the book. The world building on the other end. This one is a place where you can go and put your language. So under the custom version, you can do a lot of things. So I have a Spanish one, I have a language one, I have a French one. And so here what that look like. You click on customize, drop down menu, and under the custom, you write your language, okay? Once it's done, you can create your own world building. So I'm going to go into the French version. And here I did put my little prompt. The first prompt is write all content in French. Then after that, everything is in French. So the description of the story, the title, the subtitle, the personnage, characters, the magic items, if there is any. You can see some of the words are pretty similar in French and in English, but everything is in French. And this is what I need inside the French book, by example. In this one here, it's a nonfiction. I have also one for nonfiction. So create readable scenario, develop characters properly in the scenario, use imaginary settings. So that's, you can delete it when it doesn't works with that. Incorporate storytelling, yes. Introduce symbolic and metaphor, yes. Build a vision of the future, sure. So these are basically for my nonfiction, and you just save it. So you can build anything you want at that point here. And let's see if it's going to work one here. So let's get my French version. So I'm going to go, so I just click generate element. And I'm going to choose French. And I'm just going to say go and see what it's going to do. Obviously, once it brings everything from an English document, the outline and everything else, it's already in English on this side here. So basically, we have to use the rewrite because you import everything into the English in the first place. But everything I'm asking now should be in French, as you can see. and it's telling me about the author of the book, one of the person which will be used in the book to illustrate the importance of the empathy. Peter, John are going to be little example in the book too. Diverse participant and knowing, So it's giving me also that it's going to use exercise to show the people. It's going to show technique. It's going to use to show some tools, how to journal, and some guided practice for empathy. So you can tell that the AI says, oh yeah, it's a nonfiction. I can get all the information from this document, and that's what she wants. And he's right. This is what I want in my book. So, and it's all in French. The outline, on the other hand, it's all in English. I would have to go and ask to rewrite. So this intro, you go in your three dots, rewrite, all content in French, and go.
Sorry, a question. When you ask to rewrite here, is going to just translating word by word, or is just
It's going to be right in proper French.
proper French? So it can be also different, but the story will be the same. The content will be the same, but words used are different or can be different.
They can be different because it's going to use it as a proper French. So what I don't like about translator, I don't know, translator from 2 years ago, it was like word for word, and you were reading something, it's been translated by Google Translate, and it was like horrible. If I take the same text and I put it in Google Translate now, it's going to be very similar to this one because Google Translate did advance quite a bit. So whatever they do, it's working because a translation, and I did many translation out of Sudowrite, and it's giving me very good translation of what's in the box. So it stays on task, and this is very important for me because I spend hours and hours, if it's not days, doing my research, and I want everything to be properly done.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to take the first one here, the introduction, and I'm going to say, all right, let's see if we can get this to work. So I'm going to create my first chapter, which is the intro, by clicking here. And now you can see that everything is in French. I'm not sure if it's going to generate in French. We're going to test it. If not, we have to put that little magic prompt again. So let's see if it's going to generate a scene direction. Scene direction, is everyone has scene direction, Dahlia?
I think it's still only in the Muse and my voice beta. It checked in my.
Okay.
Yep. Outside of beta, it's still only generate beats.
All right. So I'm going to generate the beats and see if it's going to give them in French.
Yeah. It usually works for German right now, but one funny thing that I noticed, it still says in the beginning, not like here, commencer par, but begin with, and then it switches to German. It's fun, but why it does that? But yeah, begin with is easy to be changed, so I'm not fretting too much if that's all that's.
Yeah, everything is pretty much on the nose of a nonfiction book, and everything is in French. I would have to come here and add a few things on top as my beats to make sure it stays in a nonfiction. So this is write all content in French, and this next one is it's write a nonfiction chapter on, and I will go and get my title here. And you can see I'm in both language. I kind of go back and forth. I don't pay too much attention. I just say, write all the content in French, write a nonfiction chapter on emotional intelligence, transformation, relationship. Just for the fun of it, we'll try with a couple of different model too. So here is where your chapter get written. By clicking on the down arrow, that's where you have all your choice. And that's what you showed earlier, but you showed it into the laser tools, right?
Yes.
All right. So we'll go with basic. I know it's not going to give me what I'm looking for, but it might surprise me. So basic is the cheapest one of all. So we're just going to use basic, and it's supposed to work with multi-language. So let's see what it's going to do with the first beat. So these here are what we call the beats. Beats 1, 2, 3. And Sudowrite normally works in pair. It's going to write 1 and 2 together. I find out sometime in the non-fiction book, and even in the fiction book, I like to take the two first beat and merge them together. You can work your beats the way you want at all time. You can merge them, or you can leave them like that. You can change them. You can say commencer, la scène de l'auteur se trouve dans un café animé observant l'interaction autour d'elle. Elle remarque une conversation entendue. Okay, yeah, that's kind of things I do when I go to a cafe because I like to observe people. I'm in the nonfiction. So let's see. Let's generate the first beat and see what it's going to give us. It's going to give us a nonfiction and in French. And one thing I forgot to tell, it's no dialogue, but I like the first part of being dialogue. So you have your pause button. It's going to do 1 and 2, as you can see, right? Beat 1 and 2. And normally there's a small, that 3 and 4, pause. So when you see that it stopped and you show the next 2 beats, you stop. So let's read this there if it makes sense. Le café bourdonnait d'énergie, symphonie, entouré de bruit, les tasses, l'auteur s'assied dans un coin. So here it's telling that the author. So here I can go and change I sat in a corner of the cafe. It's up to me if I want to do that. And that I can also tell the AI that I want it to be written. That will be another one. Open another bracket at first person POV at present tense. And obviously you can write that into your own language too. So I have 2 bracket, close, close. Do I miss a bracket, Dahlia? 1 bracket.
No,
It
seems
looks
okay.
good. Looks good.
So now that I want it to be rewritten into that POV, I can go back. And my first chapter can be done like 10 times before I'm happy with it. So now I want it to rewrite that first beat. I'm going to close this. I don't want it to continue the story. I want it to start brand new.
Continue where the text in the document leaves off.
Okay.
Story Bible. Share.
Sorry. That's the little thing. So I'm going to go back on beat 1, put my little cursor here and ask to start with the new instruction of first person POV. See what it's doing for me. Le café est effervescent, la cacophonie de rire. Je. So this is first person POV and present tense. So I'm sitting down at a table near the window with my coffee in my hands, which is smoking. Les aromas, so the aroma of croissant, café frais, da da da. 2 women are sitting together. They're very tense. Their voice is high. So, and there's a little story going on here. So it's exactly what I asked and in French. So before I go too far, because we already like 7 minutes before the hours, do you have any question? I showed you quite a bit there.
Just
Chat
a
is
stupid,
clear on.
sorry,
yeah.
just a stupid one. So you say that when you generate a beat and then you stop and then you regenerate a beat 10 times or whatever. What is your what do you expect? So usually you get what you want after 1, 2 beats, or you have to do really 10 times before you get and how you want to when you regenerate, how can you tell that you want something different? You also have to go to the top and write in the square, or do you?
When you want to tell the AI the way you want, if you read all your beats in here and it says, I'm happy with the beats, this is what I want. But I want everything to be written in the first person POV. So this is the bracket here. That's where you put, I want everything written in Italian or German. I want to write a fiction or a non-fiction. It's a chapter, so it's not a book. We are writing a chapter here.
Mm-hmm.
And I want, the title is that he knows what we're talking about. So he can go on top. So I don't know what the AI do, But you may very well go inside that document and says, oh yeah, she's writing on that, and it's right here. I can access it. So the AI knows this is a title and this is what we're writing about. And then I'm telling it I don't want to see at the third person. I want it to be present because I want the reader to be immersed right away in my book. So because I've been working with it for over 2 years, I kind of know what I want. And sometimes it depends. Sometimes I will have to do it 10 times, and sometimes I will just like right
No,
now, it will
my
be just
question is, okay, it's not probably on scope of this course training, but can I say bit by bit that, for example, this bit I don't like, I want to regenerate only bit number 2 or
yes,
something like that?
yes.
So and to apply specific information, do I have anyhow to write on top, or I can ask when I generate bit number 3, I want to have change from third person to first person to third person. Is something that can be done bit by bit, or is not possible?
It is done bit by bit if you want. I saw the other author using their prompt right here on top of the beat. I personally don't use that workflow. So
Okay.
on beat number 3 and 4, it says I want it on the POV of someone else. So it says, let's see, we get a second person POV, and I want it at the past tense for the second version. I will just change it right here. And then I will say, that's what I want for beat 3 and 4. Or I can go and says, I want that for beat 12. All right, I'll just make a space there. For me, it's easier. Make sure that it's not going to, see, I have to make sure this one is off. And I'm going to generate beat 12. So that's why I'm saying with Sudowrite, you are in charge at all time.
Okay.
So it's generating beat 12.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. And that's it. It's done. So basically that was the last prompt of my book. My book will be, the first chapter will be done. I will have just to read it, fix it. You can use all your little tools up here, and you can use all the laser tool on top. That's you show a little bit on how to use a laser tool and just put the prompt in most of them. Like this one, like she did for me, is like write all content in French. I normally put it on number 2. I want only one card. I like to use excellent, and I like 500 words. But right now I'm kind of very happy. I'm going to do what you think I'm going to do after this class. I'm going to finish that book.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helped you. That was a bit more deep in the knowledge of how to use Sudowrite in other language. But this is what I'm writing on right now. So for me, it's really fresh in my mind to show you exactly what I'm doing. So this is my workflow when I work in the nonfiction.
Yes, someone who's so far only wrote novel, this was very interesting to see how you can work with like nonfiction stuff and Sudowrite. So thanks a lot. I
Yeah.
love our classes because I always also learn something in them.
We always learn something. We have different, as many teacher we have different workflow, which is fantastic. So any questions, Stefano, Bertha?
No, not on the subject, but just one question. So this one is going to be uploaded to the Discord, I think.
Yeah, it's going to
Just a question: is it possible because every time I check or I see some training in Discord, I do not have a link for the documentation. Is it possible to have, as a generic rule for everyone, when uploaded, also to upload the documents that is shared in the session? Because that one, sometimes you go there and then they are talking about something specific things that are in a document and you don't know where is the document.
So for me, I normally put it inside my YouTube channel. So inside 2 days is going to be in my YouTube channel. And I think, Dahlia, you'll have access. I will send you the recording and you can do the same.
Yeah, I can do this, that I put it online and put my documents.
Yeah. So you should be able to find it inside the YouTube that I put on the chat.
Okay, thanks. But
And
my question, it was more on generic one. So yeah, I'm attending the training, so I save the document. But when I go to Discord and I see the training that has been done maybe 2-3 months ago, I don't know, we don't have a link to the documentation, and it's very hard to follow sometimes.
yeah, we did
Especially
mention
because
that.
I'm at the beginning of Sudowrite, so I don't know most of the things. So I'm trying to learn by checking other people, what the other people are doing. So
Yes, we did mention that to Sudowrite, and they tried to figure out a way to link these together. There's a bit of disconnection on that part, but they haven't figured out yet on how to get from the Discord video and make sure that everything is attached properly to it. It's something in the works. So that's
okay.
why most of the teachers
But
have the YouTube now.
yeah. And if you need something, you can also just go to the video and tag the teacher, and then they can
Yeah, this
give
is
you a
what
link.
usually I'm doing, and also sometimes I'm also stopping the video and try to type what is I see in the screen. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
my,
always
this
able
is
to find it, but it's very hard to do it. So.
yeah.
You
But
understand?
right now we still have to optimize this process a bit so that it's easier.
Okay, thanks. And I will experiment what we learned today, and then maybe next time I can give you also my feedback on that, because I really want to experiment to write in not only on Italian, for example, but also to do some dialogues only on South Italian accent or something like that. I want to see how Sudowrite works on that.
Yeah. Looking forward to learn more about your experimentations next time.
Thank you.
So, have fun writing.
Thanks everyone for showing up. And at the hour you receive an email, please send your feedback and tell us what you like us to teach you next time in the feedback, what you like and what you like to see even more. So this way we can base our next class on that too. So thank you very much. My name is Manon Doucette. It was a pleasure to teach you a bit of French today. And here my beautiful host with me, because we're not no co-hosts. I never know what to call ourselves.
Yeah, I was also struggling for the right words, but we're hosting it together. So yeah, kind of
Dual host.
co-host, but not really co-host. But yeah, but I'm also, which was very happy to teach you a bit of my process today, and look forward to see you in future classes. Have fun
Thank
writing,
you.
and
Bye bye.
bye-bye.
Cheers.
Yeah.